Excuse me. I'm sorry to bother you. Are you a lawyer?
I am.
My name is Anna Viorka, and I need a lawyer. I don't want to go back. Can you please help me?
Anna, what are you doing?
I'm not going back, Dad.
What do you mean you're not?
I'm not going. Can you please help me?
Anna?
What's going on here?
If I go back to Romania, they'll force me to get married.
Anna, let's go.
1 second, sir. What do you mean they're gonna force you to get married?
They will, like they did with my sister.
This is a family matter. Let go of me.
Mr. Viorka, your daughter is represented by counsel.
Sir, I'm sure you don't mean to make trouble.
Oh, but I do. You're a foreigner. Take your hand off the girl, or I'll get you declared a person of interest, which means you'll be locked up forever without so much as a trial. Don't think I kid you. This is the United States of America.
I'm about to call for the police.
Excuse me, I hate to interrupt, but this one's urgent, Your Honor. Alan Shore represent... Is it Anya?
Anna Viorka.
Anna Viorka, petition for political asylum. Res ipsa doozy.
Let's talk about your sister. How old is she?
She was 13 when she got married. Now she is 16.
After she was married, did she and her new husband,
Yes. My father waved the sheets with blood on them. That's tradition. To show that the marriage was consummated.
consummated is a big word for a 12-year-old to use.
There's some words I look up. That's one of them.
Why is your English so good? You have no accent.
We lived with relatives in the United States for 6 years. My mother was a visiting professor at Amherst. And then we moved back 2 years ago. And we've been on vacation here for the last 2 weeks.
Where does your mother stand in all this?
With my father.
I notified the Attorney General's office. They don't oppose.
Well, I do.
Your Honor, all I'm asking is that the girl be questioned in chambers instead of a big, intimidating theater. Come on.
The courtroom is where we conduct all our legal business, openly, notoriously, in keeping with the Constitution and the intent of our founding fathers. I do all my business openly and notoriously, counsel. All of it.
How about sex, Your Honor?
You've brought before me a motion for political asylum, counsel. That is a very serious piece of legal business. It will be tried and adjudicated in the courtroom.
I don't even like him.
Like who, Anna?
The boy that I'm supposed to marry. I don't think he's nice. I don't think he's cute. I don't think he's anything.
Now, Anna, in Romania, the legal age for marriage is 18, am I right?
Yes, but we are Roma. That's our religious faith. Tradition is that they arrange child weddings all the time. My sister got married at 13. And she had to have sex. I don't want to have sex.
You say these arranged marriages happen a lot?
Yes,
Some of your friends get married in this way?
yes.
Are they okay with it?
Maybe they are, but I'm not.
Are you afraid of this boy?
No, I just don't want to marry him. Or anybody else.
Now let's talk about your mom and dad. Do you love them?
I do. But that doesn't mean that I have to follow all their ancient rules. Especially the ones that are barbaric.
Barbaric. Did your lawyer tell you to use that word?
Objection. I told her to use reprehensible, repugnant, and criminal. She came up with barbaric all on her own.
Continue.
What do you think of America, Anna?
I love it.
Tell me, excluding this marriage business, if you could choose which country you'd rather live in, what would it be?
America?
I see. Is it possible this might be more about your wanting to stay here than it is your fearing going back there?
It's about me not wanting to get married. It's about me not wanting to have to be raped by some 15-year-old boy I don't even like.
This opposed, I won't make her go through with it.
Well, according to Anna, her sister was opposed. She was crying and screaming when they brought her into the church. She had to go through with it.
The ceremony was halted and continued only after she agreed.
Under duress?
Mr. Shore, my daughter is afraid she'll miss her friends here. That's what this is about. I'm sure there are many kids coming out of Disneyland seeking asylum too.
You are
but
forcing your 12-year-old daughter to be married, sir. Please don't equate
there are
that with-
Mormon families who do that in this country.
The Mormon Church does not sanction
But
marriage.
it happens. It goes on, and the police don't always enforce the law against it, do they, Mr. Shore?
How about we strike a deal, then? You leave your daughter here, we'll raise her in Utah.
Objection.
Our marital success rate far surpasses the divorce numbers in this country.
This goes to show you what a little servitude will get you, right, Mr.
Mr.
Bjork?
Shore,
What happens now?
Well, tomorrow morning we hear from your mother. Tell me about her.
She's very nice. Smart. A professor. If you had trouble with my dad, you'll be no match for her.
You don't think I'm any match for you, do you?
How are we doing?
Political asylum is tough, Anna. Though the whole world apparently hates us right now, we still seem to be the destination of choice.
Do you think you could take me away from here? Just for an hour or two. It's so depressing here.
I'll tell you what. I'll try to persuade the judge to let me take you out for breakfast.
May I ask, do you have children?
I'm sure I must.
I know you're gonna win. When I was looking around the courtroom yesterday, deciding what lawyer to run up to, I saw your face, and I knew you would be the one to save me.
The victim was stabbed 31 times. Over her face, neck, torso, hands. The blows were of such a force, her head was almost separated from her body.
What can you tell us about the weapon?
It was a knife with a 6 1/4-inch blade, serrated edges.
Do you know if the knife was ever located?
It was not. However, we found this knife set in the defendant's kitchen. The set is always sold with 5 knives of varying lengths. The defendant had only 4 knives. The one with the serrated 6 1/4-inch blade was missing. Tests showed that the wounds to Mrs. Gilbert's body were consistent with the missing knife.
And did the wounds tell you anything about the killer?
From the angles of penetration, we determined that the killer was over 6 feet and left-handed.
The knife you're referring to. Would it surprise you to learn that 5,000 identical knives were sold in the last 3 years in the Boston area?
No.
And to confirm, you never found the murder weapon.
No, we did not.
Married when I was 12. My mother was married when she was 14. My grandmother was married when she was 13.
All arranged marriages?
Yes. All successful as well, I might add.
But Mrs. Viorka, I mean, you do appreciate that the idea is a little offensive to Americans.
I do. But Americans have trouble comprehending non-romantic unions.
Well, marriage without love.
Marriage is about family. Partnerships for parenting. In our faith, it's also about preserving ethnic identity. And by the way, arranged marriages still go on in the United States, however quietly, for this very reason.
In the United States?
Yes. And I don't mean simply in the Mormon faith. It happens with Orthodox Jews, the Greeks, Muslims, Hindus. There are thousands of such marriages every year in this country.
You see nothing wrong with forcing Anna to be married, or to be raped.
If she doesn't consent to consummating the marriage, Mr. Shore, then sex shouldn't happen.
But Mrs. Viorka, come on, if her 15-year-old husband overpowers her in the name of religious consummation, he's not going to be prosecuted, is he?
First of all, how dare you presume Roma boys to be rapists?
Because consummating the marriage is part of Roma tradition.
Consummation is traditional in America as well. But if the bride says no, we don't assume rape.
We assume capacity to give consent. We can't do that with a 12-year-old.
You don't know our culture.
I know this is an archaic practice that has no place in this child's life today. I know persecution, Mrs. Viorka. I know crime.
In this country, you take newborn babies and snip off the ends of their penises. I imagine some other cultures would object to that. The United States believes in executing human beings, while every other westernized country finds that barbaric.
Yes. I'm sure we could exchange cultural barbs ad nauseum. It wouldn't change the fact you're this girl's mother.
And I love her deeply. And perhaps you would entertain a radical idea that a mother might know what's best for her daughter?
And perhaps you could allow for the not-so-radical reality this girl is a child.
Whose parents deserve the right to raise her according to their culture, even should it have the audacity to vary from the United States of America.
Told you she'd be tough.
Yes, you did. Anna, should we win here? Are you going to be happy being raised by your relatives?
Maybe I'll marry you. Gotcha. My relatives understand. They'll look after me.
Won't you miss your parents?
Of course I will. I'll probably cry forever. But it's not right that I should be forced to marry somebody I do not love. or even like. That is not right.
People from all over the world appear before me every day, begging, please let me stay in this country. Some facing unimaginable poverty, oppression, or cultural hatred. We typically, uniformly, say no. Here we have a young girl who, quite justifiably, doesn't want to have her hand forced in marriage at the age of 12. Mr. and Mrs. Viorka, I find this Roma tradition to be repugnant, even sick. But I realize that could be my own cultural bias talking. And I am mindful that the legal test for persecution is not how I feel, or even what Anna feels, but what the reasonable person in Anna's predicament, in Anna's country, would feel. The testimony and evidence seem to clearly establish that these forced marriages typically happen in the Roma faith, that it's a cultural norm, and that the reasonable Roma 12-year-old girl does not feel persecuted by them. Looking at this through their lens, which I am required by law to do, I cannot find the level of persecution that would authorize me to grant asylum. Mr. and Mrs. Viorka, I would love nothing more than to impose my American culture and my American values upon you, but I can't. All I can do is hope, even pray, that you abide by your daughter's wishes. The plaintiff's petition is denied. The minor should be immediately released to her parents.
Can we appeal?
No.
What do you mean? There's always appeals.
Not on this.
That's not right. Why can't...
Anna? You need to come with us now.
I can't. I won't.
Anna. You need to come with us.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, Mr. Shore.
Goodbye, Anna.